Roll call.
Engels,
Here.
Carter,
Here.
Boravic, Eel,
Here.
Snyder.
Here.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda for today's meeting, with the caveat that because we're lacking a quorum as to commission members with a conflict, the only matter we're going to be able to take up in new business is item A, and then also item E, the 2023 annual report. So with those caveats, do I have a motion to approve the agenda for today?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes for the special meeting on November 27th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve?
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. The next item on the agenda is public comments, excluding comments on the public hearing and work applications. So we'll exclude that. Any other public comments? Nope. Moving on. New business. Item A is a construction application for construction of a one-car garage at 415 East Cass Street by owner Richard, and I want to make sure I pronounce this right. Is it Varican?
Yes.
All right. We have a presentation in that regard?
Sure do. My name is Jerry Adams. I know Mark. I'm actually retired from the city, but Abby, as you may know, is on medical leave, and maybe you don't know, and hopefully she'll be back soon. And so I'm working part-time for the city, so John asked me if I would do this tonight, so I'm going to do it for you. Hopefully, may not be as good as Abby, but we'll take it anyways. I have a real short PowerPoint presentation on this application, after which obviously the applicant can add, embellish it, add however he wants, and correct any mistakes I may have made. Again, the address is 415 East Cass Street. Whoops, let's see. There we go. Oh, is it working? There we go. Just this is just from the city's aerial maps GIS. It's really kind of difficult to see from this distance, but the arrow essentially points out the lot. On the south is East Cass Street. On the north is a public alley. And as you can see, the home is surrounded, obviously, by other single-family dwellings. Which one, John, do I push? This one right there?
Right there.
Okay, great. Okay, how do you pronounce the applicant's name, by the way?
Richard Burrigan.
Sounds good. Okay, Varican. The project essentially, and we'll get into this in a second, is to construct a one-car detached garage, about 420 square feet. And the garage will be placed, as you'll see in a second, in the rear yard of 415 East Cass Street. And again, I realize this one's difficult to read or to see, but I think it's always important to kind of just recall, why is this particular piece of property important historically? And very quickly, I'm going to read this. The classification is bungalow craftsman, and these small homes, often anchored by front porches, they originated in colonial India. That's the bungalow part. And bungalows became popular in the U.S. after the style was adopted by what is referred to as the arts and craft movement. That's the craftsman's part. And that added intricate woodwork and handicraft details to the interior and the exterior. And at one point, interestingly, the craftsman homes became such an American classic that you could actually order them through certain catalogs. And you were able to get the entire kit delivered to your home, so to speak, and could erect one. So it just gives you a little taste of what this home is all about. Reason for this one, again, it's kind of a blow up of the aerial. As I understand it, the access to this home, and it's the dashed yellow line, There's a shared driveway, and 415, the one we're dealing with, has an easement to utilize that driveway. So when you come off East Cass Street, come off Cass Street, you're using the driveway, the shared driveway, heading north or heading back, and then there's a slight inset where you go behind the house, and the big yellow dot, so to speak, is more or less where the detached garage will be placed. The reason I think this is somewhat important is that if you're on Cass Street, you really won't have much in the way of views of this particular building because of the driveway and the inset. So I thought it was important. This is a shot of the rear yard. This is where the building is going to go. It would be to the right of the more or less to the right of the aerial, and you can see there is nothing back there right now. Another important feature regarding this particular shot, to the north, you'll see towards the alley is a fair amount of vegetation. So if you live north of the alley looking south, again, views of this structure are going to be pretty mitigated, very filtered because of the pretty extensive amount of vegetation. Just a shot of the garage that was provided by the applicant. This is in your application package. The color referred to as bungalow house gray. Okay, and again, this was part of your packet along with additional information. As far as the design specifications, and we took this right from the application. Again, about 420 square feet, more or less. We'll have a 612 pitch gamble roof, a single car, a door, as indicated on the plan. There'll be a pedestrian entry door, one pedestrian entry door, I believe on the west side, and 1 foot overhangs, horizontal lap vinyl siding, and the asphalt shingles will be black. We looked at this from the standpoint of the Historic District Review guidelines, and most of the guidelines reference the maintenance or improvement of an existing structure. And if I can go back for a second, if it'll let me. There isn't an existing structure. There was a structure here at one time. It was dilapidated and essentially and was at some point removed. We did do some research to find out whether or not we could obtain any information on that structure. We don't have any. And one of the things we observed is that on the Historic District Survey sheet that was done for this house, as well as the associated documentation, generally, if the detached structures were considered or not considered significant, essentially no information was provided. So on those that are significant, you will find information, but on this one, we couldn't find anything. So in terms of the structure that was there, it's not there anymore. As I mentioned earlier, due to its rear yard location, the driveway inset that I talked about, and also just the presence of the dwelling itself, views of the garage, if it's approved, from Cass Street would be highly limited and maybe not visible at all. And similarly, as I mentioned, the vegetative screen along the alley is going to filter internal views of the site by homeowners, by residents to the north. Kind of mentioned this already, really, per the plans, the garage incorporates a basic residential design. I don't really need to get into it. Gamble roof, horizontal lap siding, etc. The garage itself will be set back about 5 feet or so from the east property line, and that's the minimum setback one can have due to the building code requirement. So again, it will set it in a little more, you might say. And lastly, in terms of the commission, for the benefit of the audience, following the review of the application and your determination of findings, you may approve with conditions, or deny the application. And as you are all aware, if necessary, you can also delay action on an application if you feel additional information is needed. And with that, I would suggest, Madam Chair, that you turn it over to the applicant, let them add to whatever I left out, and we can hopefully answer any questions you may have.
All right. You're up.
I'm the builder, so he's actually the homeowner, but that was very accurate. There's nothing to add or delete from that, so that is, in fact, what we're here for, so.
All right. No, nothing else?
No,
Okay.
not that I,
Unless there's a question or something you guys
All right.
have that I can answer
We
for
will
ya.
let you know if we
Okay.
if we have one.
All right. Am I good?
Yes, you're good.
Okay.
And I do want to compliment and thank staff on the very nice job with the workup on this application and the other applications. Much appreciated. Thank you. I'm going to open this up to questions and comments. Anybody?
I have no questions.
I don't have any questions either.
None?
No, I think,
I just to summarize the position on this, I think it's appropriate. The fact that the garage is basically not visible from any vantage point, significantly visible, pretty much takes away considerations that we would normally debate about. And I think that the design is very consistent with what the garages look like in the area, and it's nicely done, and I don't have any significant qualms about it at all.
I just want to make, I see there's some audience. I don't know if they have something to say about this particular application or not. Oh, okay. Thank you, okay.
No comments at all from the gallery back there? All right, seeing no further comments, do I have a motion to approve the application to construct a new one-car garage at 415 East Cass Street by Richard Varican? Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And it's approved without any caveats.
thank you so much.
Yep.
So you guys are free to go if you want, or you can stick around for the rest of the meeting. Whatever you want to do.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet
Yeah.
Meeting ya.
Next item on the agenda, old business. I don't see anything there. Next item is commissioner comments. I do want to raise something because I actually didn't get a chance to look at any of the applications till today. And so the next time we meet, when we do have a quorum, I was just hoping we could do a little research, if you have time, ahead of time, so that we can act on those applications with as little delay as possible. And the specific issue, as I'm sure you're probably thinking along the same lines, is the use of vinyl in a historic district. And I didn't do in-depth research, and my vantage point is I want to look for reasons to not tangle people up in maintaining their property. And on the other hand, I want to make sure that we do our job as commissioners to ensure that we don't make any decisions that are degrading to the historic district at all, or would put it in jeopardy of being a historic district if we establish a precedent. And so really the reason for this is just so we establish, I would say, establish that we have looked to precedent, not just in our own historic district, any decisions relating to the use of vinyl on a contributing structure. And the sub-issues I sort of see is that one of the applications had the vinyl on the rear of the structure that did not appear that it would be visible from vantage points, but I don't know that for certain. The other considerations are the other application had, I think there's two contributing structures on the site with John's house, two contributing structures. I'd really like to know if there's any precedent for the use of vinyl in whole or part. And I know with respect to the windows, we had a discussion about finding, we did find that other historic districts approve the use of vinyl windows in certain circumstances, but going from that to siding, I think we really do need to have some groundwork. so
We'll
that
do
we-
some research for you.
That would be wonderful.
We will.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, can I make a couple comments on that?
Sure, yeah.
So if you look around our historic district, about 70% of the houses have vinyl windows. So I don't know if that would,
It's not the windows. I think that the last meeting, we told you that you could go ahead and do the vinyl and you wanted to do the other, you wanted to go in the other direction, but I think we were ready to approve the window.
Okay, gotcha.
It's the siding
Yeah.
that is causing me to think, okay, we need to do our job and make sure that we're not doing something that's going to establish a precedent that could endanger the historic district from being a historic district anymore.
Yes, in the past, we've historically approved vinyl on buildings, and my house already has vinyl on the piece.
Well, that's
I don't know if
a
that-
different issue, yeah. If
Okay.
it's already got vinyl, that's a completely different
It's just-
consideration.
Because the whole house was vinyl until about 2010, they took it all off.
Oh,
Yeah, so,
well, that's the other the other thing we need some more information on. If the structure has been, and correct me if I'm wrong, taken back to its original,
yeah, so that.
does
that
the
is a copy.
precedent allow it to be, the vinyl put back on? Yeah, and again, it's both in our district, and if we can't find precedent in our district, it'd be really good to look all over and see what other districts are doing.
Be happy to.
John, did you want to present your information as thus far, or were you going to wait for
Well, I said
another meeting?
We can't because we can't.
We
vote
can't
on
do
it.
anything
We don't have
with
enough
it.
people.
No, I know we can't
Yeah.
vote on it, but I didn't know if you wanted to present it and then mull it over or offer ideas, or
Sure, yeah,
because
go
I
ahead.
know I don't know about your application, but for mine, that's what I was like, well, I'll just wait. But then I thought, you know what, I would rather just get your feedback now because it's taking my contractors forever to get back to me. So maybe it will help. So I didn't know if
Sure.
it's totally up to you.
Yeah, I can present.
If you don't want to.
Is that
you're
okay?
fine.
Well,
We just-
I mean, you can talk, but
yeah, I think we know what the issues
Yeah.
are.
Okay.
And again, I'm looking for support.
Mhm.
I'm not looking to hang you up, but we
Gotcha.
have to have support.
Yeah,
Right.
We
Yeah.
can't have no support.
right. My concern is like my peaks, like I have to paint those every 3 years. Like, so every year I'll do another cider. So basically every 4 years. And I risk my life every time painting it. So if
Well,
I
and
can-
if something like that is been considered as an exception, then that's something we need to know.
if you're, since you filed an application, essentially really to talk about it, probably it would be best if you excused yourself.
Right.
Because there's a conflict of interest,
Okay.
understandable.
yeah.
Excuse yourself, so you really are no longer theoretically part of and the minutes would reflect that you've excused yourself, because you can't take part, obviously, in any motions or voting and so forth. Because once, again, if we had another member, you did excuse yourself, you can talk like any applicant can talk.
Gotcha.
Okay? So probably it would be best if we waited until we had a quorum. Under the bylaws, under the rules of procedure, just so everybody understands, according to the rules of procedure, you have to have 4 members to have a quorum, okay? And you'll have to have a majority of the membership, the quorum, in order to approve something. The problem comes into being if one of you leaves because of a conflict, and the guidelines aren't that specific, do you still have a quorum? Can you still operate? We're going to ask the attorney, by the way. We may have to do some modification of your rules of procedure down the road. But as of right now, we need 4 of you to act on things. You may not all 4 agree, but we need 4 of you to. And so if Gwen is back next time, for example, hopefully, and the rest of you, we can move forward.
Another question I have is if we could have some research analysis on alternatives that are more maintenance-friendly than wood, such as the cement fiberboard, what historic districts have done in regard to the use of that material, because I know it's more durable, it lasts a lot longer than wood, but it looks more like wood than vinyl. So if we could add that to, is that something we can add to the research?
Well, I happen to know several historic or architects who their whole thing is historic, and let me talk to a couple of them, if you're interested.
Yes.
They might be willing. I can think of one in particular. She owes me a favor. They might be willing sometime to come and just have a kind of a mini work session with you to talk about materials and so forth. Talking about Grace Moose. Yeah. We can see. Otherwise, we can also obviously we can do some research as well.
All right.
But it might be kind of fun to have an architect who's familiar with historic work, properties, and so forth, to just, if nothing else, for 30 minutes or so, just to kind of give you a primer on what you can do instead of this or that.
That would be very helpful.
Sure.
Mark, are there any other things that you think we would need to know to be expeditious in dealing with the applications the next meeting in terms of research on the issue of vinyl?
We'll just have, enough people here to begin with would be help. But this kind of reminds me of like my roof, ordeal, back in the day. And I did a ton of research, and I found, there were some very some areas, historic districts, even like out in, like in Boston area and, along the ocean. And they approved, not everybody had to have a wood roof on a historic home. One home was from the late 1700s, and they put on the same roof that I have on. So, in some of these cases, they're allowing different materials. Now, vinyl siding, I'll do a little more research.
Right. Okay.
Because I just don't know right now.
Okay.
We could also still need a motion on the accepting of the annual report.
Oh, yeah.
I think we skipped over that.
Oh, yeah. All right. So,
And that was included in the staff packet.
yeah.
It follows basically the same format that you've used in the past as a point of information.
Yeah. Do I have a motion to approve the 2023 annual report?
Say it again?
Yeah, it's at the very back.
And if I might say, if you approve it, this will be about the 20th one that Mark has signed.
I know. It's like just like all the notes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want to do it next time? You've got a look of question on your
I
face.
I haven't even I don't know if I found it.
Do you want to table it here? I just had to go to
We can
it's
table
hard.
it.
Yeah.
So it's like two sides.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's front and back.
Okay.
So this is page 2, that's page
Oh,
3.
got it. Okay. Okay.
Does anyone recall who the support was on the minutes? I had Eel making the motion. That happened pretty quick. Who supported on the agenda approval?
I don't
I'm
remember.
second.
I think it was Mark.
second.
Mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
What
Thank
are the
you.
repercussions at this point? It seems like there's lots of work going on in the historic district that nobody would really comes to the meetings to present.
Is there?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of stuff that's like, oh,
It happens so quick.
Mike usually calls it in, and I'm like, oh, there it is, a vinyl window up that
Yeah.
just popped up, and I'm like, too late,
Oh,
it's already up.
yeah.
Yeah, it's already up.
Yep,
Does it
and
happen
I,
on weekends or during the week?
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
I'll walk through the neighborhood. I'm like, oh, something else just got done. who knows if there was a permit or what, but yeah, stuff gets done and you're like, oh,
It's like we try to follow the rules and then, you know,
Oh,
like,
that's the big question. Are they pulling permits at all? Because I'm pretty sure when they look at the building permits that they would trigger that it was in the historic district.
yeah, but for windows and siding and that kind and like,
Some things don't need permits.
some things don't need
Yeah.
permits, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I saw a roof go on, like a patch roof with a metal roof go on without any permits.
A house or a garage.
A house.
Really?
It's just a part of the house.
Oh,
So,
I think Mike used to drive around calling it in.
but still, there's no repercussions.
I know.
If you see it happening,
You
should
gotta,
let
yeah.
them-
Well,
let
I've never
them-
seen it happening in action.
Yeah.
so-
Well, and that's
Be out
not
there.
an
Yeah.
unusual, that's not an unusual problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
so say something's not approved, applicant still proceeds with it. Are we doing anything about it? City prosecutor will never go after him, right?
Well, that's a good question. We're reorganizing virtually almost everything in our enforcement department now to try to get better enforcement. In prior times, we relied on misdemeanors and going through the courts, and we haven't had the best of success. And so we're going to civil infractions, but those are violations of specific ordinances and so forth. We'd have to look into your standards and see if they're adopted by ordinance and can we follow that same procedure, but I'd be happy to ask the attorney about that.
That's interesting if
Yeah,
our
that'd be
historic
good.
district follows the same, because I know that they just changed it to, instead of getting prosecuted, they're getting fined now, which you can get fined a day if, like he said, it meets the same ordinance.
Yeah, if somebody puts in a window and they're
Yes.
fined $50, it makes more sense to
It would almost.
proceed that way. I know that Allegan County Historic District, they were not prosecuting anything, so they completely dissolved the historic district because what's the point? you
Right.
know? It's,
Yeah, I think that's an issue, the citywide issue, of people just doing stuff without permits.
yeah, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, the historic district there, they dissolved
Yeah.
it because what's the point of the historic district if you're not?
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be enforcement, but this is an issue that obviously is being addressed citywide.
So out of all the things that you review, are there a lot of those items that don't require permits then?
Yeah, most, yeah.
Most?
Yeah.
Well, do they, I've always wondered, replacement of windows, does that require a permit?
I'm not sure, I'd have to check.
Yeah, I don't know if the city,
I don't think it does
I
unless
really don't
you
think
are
it
doing the
does.
windows where it changes.
right, if you're changing the size,
Kind of,
I know it does.
Yeah, if you
If you're not changing the size, I don't know.
You're
I
doing
think so.
sash replacements
Mm-hmm.
now, and
Well, can you look at what our teeth are if there
Yeah, I
is some
can
sort of?
see your standards, whether that was adopted through some kind of ordinance that has enforcement teeth in it. If it does, then obviously I think there might be some answers, but if not, then the question is, can we do something about it?
That's I think the next part. If it doesn't, how do we then take that step
Right, yeah.
to also?
The part of it is knowing, like
Right.
I had no idea, so
I mean,
let
permits.
us know if you see something like that, if you see people doing work
But at
to,
the same time, if they have a place that's falling apart and they're fixing it up, I'm all for it too. So it's like,
well, yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of
Mhm.
begs the question.
Yeah.
That gets to a much bigger issue,
Right.
which
Yeah.
is a much bigger issue,
yeah. But you see some of these low income in our
right?
historic district that anything is better than nothing.
You know, the other thing that we've had running for third year now, I don't know if we'll run it next year, we have a residential facade program for people up to the median income that they can get up to a $3,000 grant for residential facade. So if they're doing something to these homes, you know, in the historic district, if they meet the income guidelines, that might be an option for them to try to get financial help. I don't know, this will be the last year we probably can run it out of our grant, but we're hoping that maybe the city will continue the program out of general funds or some other source of money, so.
Yeah, you guys have done a great work job. I've seen a lot of those front porch jobs, and they look really good.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, we do several a year.
Yeah. I think it helps. 'Cause, yeah. thought we had one in our historic district have the grant done, but I can't remember what house it was. That's right.
Okay, well, we're going to figure out what our recourse is when something happens on a late Friday night or over the weekend and nothing can be done to stop it before it happens.
No permit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't see it for like, it could have been there for months, you know, by the
Right.
time one of us recognizes it.
Right.
Recourse for no permit work completed.
Is it a year that somebody has, like when they come to us to make a change and we approve it? Do they have a year to do
I think
the
so.
work? Is that about it?
a year?
Okay.
I think so. All right, so do I have a motion to approve the 2023 annual report?
I made the motion.
Didn't we do that already?
Oh,
Nobody
we
seconded
we
it.
didn't get a second.
No,
Oh,
I had,
yes.
I had Engels
Yeah.
supporting it.
Oh, do you
Oh,
support
yeah.
it? Okay.
I did.
All in favor?
Hey.
It's okay.
We
It's
can make
okay.
an
Even
amendment
if it says
later.
that.
It's approved.
Mark is like,
Unanimous.
Yeah.
was there a paragraph in about removing me?
There's not. Public comments. I see no public. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Before you adjourn,
Oh.
that's okay. Do you want to meet before next month to take up those other two applications? If so, we'll have Danielle contact you and try to get a date, but otherwise, we're not meeting again until next month, and there, two of you who have applications on the table, so to speak, and
Things started, I bet.
You know, honestly, my contractors are just, they're booked out 6 months. I just want to get on the books approval so we can, before we made that deposit, but I don't even know if mine's not time sensitive. I don't know about yours.
No, mine's not either. I
Yeah,
have many
okay.
projects at other properties that I have to finish before I can do those.
And, yeah, and unless we're not able to get a
Right.
quorum for the next meeting, I think we should work around the quorum issue to have the applications heard. And as long as it gives you enough time to do the research.
right, okay.
And are there just the 5 of us then, Gwen? Or is there's not?
We've-
Do you think we should try to get a 6th person?
It'd be
We probably
good.
should.
We would like to have an architect. We've had one, but it's been a minute.
The architect you mentioned, is that person
Are there?
living, the architect you mentioned, is that person living in Cadillac?
No,
area? Okay.
Grand Rapids.
Okay,
It's hard
Okay.
to find somebody.
okay.
Yeah, we probably should meet before, because either way, I'll have to order special custom windows for like
This-
sizes.
Okay,
So
let's have Danielle
it'll
try
take
to
3 months for
coordinate.
those to come in.
Let's coordinate and try to get something in then quick.
Okay.
Okay, because that, I don't know what direction we're gonna go. I'm just throwing everything against the wall to see who I can get to work on it. So we'll
Yeah.
see what sticks. Okay, we'll try to figure that out then and do something quicker.
All right,
But we'll need information on the siding
yeah,
before that meeting. Like what other historic districts do, right?
yes. Okay, motion to adjourn?
A motion that we adjourn.
And
Okay.
second,
Second.
we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.